Welcome back to another episode of Uniting Everyone. Share, like, subscribe if you can, please. Introduce yourself.
I'm Ramon Soriano from La Calle Tacos and La Diabla Retro Bar.
Oh,
Downtown.
Where's that at?
Downtown, Main Street, right on Main and Congress.
Yeah.
Right across the street from Fabian's.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we opened like a couple of years ago.
La Diabla?
La Diabla. And it's all 80s, 90s rock pop in Spanish.
Oh, I seen it in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
That was your idea?
Yeah. We came up with it. We actually got the place. It has a really cool, really good kitchen.
Yeah.
So we got the place to use it as a commissary kitchen for La Calle.
Yeah.
And then we had this beautiful corner and this great location, and let's do something fun. My business partner and I were like all chavorrucos, you know.
What does that mean?
Chavorruco is like a young, you're not young anymore. But you act like if you were.
Yeah.
So, still like partying and the 80s music, 80s vibe and all of that.
Yeah.
So we have some live music on Saturdays. On Fridays we do just like a DJ and some fun. It's
What kind of live music?
It's 80s, 90s, well, it's same 80s, 90s,
Okay.
rock and pop in Spanish mostly. We do probably like 70% English, 30% the other way, 70% Spanish, 30% English.
Yeah.
And on Thursday we have karaoke. So it's in general Thursday, Friday, Saturday it's a sing along bar.
Yeah.
So
That's cool. Yeah.
What we do, like all of the videos, everything that's playing has the letter of the songs. So people can sing along, and it entices a lot of people
Yeah.
to want to sing. The way we came out of it, I went to see Enanitos Verdes, a rock band in with my business partner. And he knows all of the songs. He knows the letter for all the songs, and I don't. Even though I absolutely love the music, I just don't know the letters. So we're standing there, and then the Enanitos Verdes started playing the letter of the songs behind them on the screen.
Yeah.
And everybody, the whole place, it was in House of Blues, the whole place went, and everyone was singing along, at the same, so including myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is what we need,
Yeah.
a place where people can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's played along pretty good.
You said you opened it in when?
2 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
2 years ago.
How do you manage all that?
Oh man, it's you know what? It's just people. It's just the people piece where you have clear direction of what you need, and then the right people in place, supported with very good systems.
Yeah.
Like both my business partner and I, we've been doing this each for 35 years, and we've worked for really big, companies, worldwide companies. We met 30 years ago in Burger King. We used to work together in Burger King.
Okay.
And 5 years ago, I told him, I came to the States. I've been here for like 20-something years. And 5 years ago, I called him. I told him, what are you doing? Come and let's make some tacos here in the U.S. So we were selling burgers in Mexico, and now we're selling
Oh, it
tacos
was
in
in
the
Mexico.
U.S. That was Burger King was in Mexico.
Oh, shit.
So selling burgers in Mexico and then tacos in the U.S. No,
Opposite.
That's a perfect. That's a perfect.
But you told him 5 years ago?
He came in 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I opened La Calle 8 years ago.
Uh-huh.
We're going on the 9th year now, and 5 years ago is when I invited him over.
Oh, and he became a partner with the whole business?
Yep. Yeah. I
wow.
invited him to invest and to become partners. Same, going back to your question, is like how do you do it? Getting close and getting together with people. I worked with him 25. He was my boss back then in Burger King. And he really was one of the best bosses that I've had in my life.
Wow.
So that's how 20 years later I call him and, come along.
Yeah, you don't
And let's
forget
do
people
this.
like that.
Yeah, for sure.
They change your life.
For sure.
So how did you even come up with a concept like what was it?
So my first job coming to the States was a Mexican restaurant chain. They called me over. They hired me to operate the company. They had 7 locations back then, And my first day of, when I was there, I was sitting down reading a P-mix, a product mix. So, and this was crazy operations, huge restaurants, 8,000 square feet each restaurant.
Shit.
They had taquería, tortería, aguas, estación de panadería, like all of this, and huge operation with all of this going on with 30 employees at a time working. And I look at the P mix, the product mix, and I see that 80% of their sales came out of the tacos, the tortas, and the aguas.
Okay.
And that was 15 years ago. And 15 years ago, I said, like, this is it. This is what I need. No, more than 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. This is what I need to do. And it only took me like 15 years to do it, but I did it.
Yeah.
And what I have right now, the La Calle is, very, very simple, very interchangeable menu, So I have the tacos, tortas, whatever, and you can put any of these, carnitas, pastor, asada, very limited, and everything's, interchangeable.
Yeah.
So 54% of my sales come out of 3 items.
Oh, wow.
Right? Which makes it very, very simple to operate, or more simple.
One thing I noticed about your company compared to other places is you understand marketing. You understand branding, the colors, how it looks inside, how you make people feel, And you don't see that a lot. Like, that's what separates, like, that's why you're able to be in downtown and be successful. Like, opposed to, like, say, if you go to the outskirts or whatever, like a mom and pop, right? They open it.
Yeah.
They don't really know. They don't understand marketing, right? They think it's still like a TV or a newspaper, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? It's more than, let me tell you, like, again, I've been doing this for 30 years, like, again, so, the first 10 years, and it's like, the first 10 years it was, people would say it's all about the food. You can have bad service and what, but the food is the most important, and the food. And then it changed into the service, right? The next following 10 years into the service. You could have okay food, but if the service is great and they, you have a great attention and whatever, they recognize you by name and whatever, you're going to go back and whatever. And then it was like the experience, right? Now the experience was that, so nowadays, it's the three of us, the three of them. You cannot have one without having the other.
Yeah.
And so what I part of the DNA of my company, of La Calle, the one of the most important is we entice all of our senses, right? Okay. So it's as important to entice the taste as the eyesight, as the sound. So you go in, and then the music and the meat being chopped, and the meat sizzling on the grill. That we try to entice.
How'd you come up with all this? That's specific.
So that's a really good question. I think, I worked in several different companies, several different states, 2 countries, several different states, many cities. I think in a certain, I've had like probably in different regions that I've managed, I probably have been a total of 200 restaurants, right? Yeah. And going, my whole life going into restaurants, for visiting restaurants and checking off, is it clean? Is the light right? Is the light bulb off? It's the, the artifact. Is it well, the way it should be? Yeah. It's everything's the brass, nice and polished. So, like 20 years of just gearing my attention to all of those things, I think is what creates this sight of how important the environment is. Yeah. Right. People think, and restaurant business is very appealing for everyone. Everyone wants to have a restaurant, wants to own a restaurant, right? And 90% of people say, oh, like I have a great recipe and I have a great, I cook really good or whatever. Great. That's one piece of a 1,000-piece puzzle, right? There's many other things that come into it. Um, it's very common to hear, and actually I have this true story. I have a friend of mine. He's a brain surgeon, right? He's a brain surgeon. He's the smartest person I
Yeah,
know,
it's top. Yeah, that shit.
right? And we're talking, and he says, whenever I retire, I'm going to open up a restaurant. And I'm like, that's awesome. Whenever I retire, I'm going to become a brain surgeon, and we stand, the
Yeah.
same,
He thinks it's gonna be rest, relax, and
yeah, and like everyone sees the owner like back there and
Yeah.
whatever, they don't see the back. And I would never, I'm not, I wouldn't disencourage anyone from doing it, but I definitely encourage everyone to work before you do it. Make sure you work in a restaurant.
yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that before.
Make sure you know what happens behind your plate.
Yeah.
the 100 steps that happen behind your plate.
Yeah.
The way that for example, we have 250 250 ingredients in total.
Okay.
No, we have 80 employees, right?
Damn.
And we get hundreds of customers every day. You multiply the hundreds of customers by the employee, the number of people and the number of ingredients, multiply all of that, and that's how much could go wrong.
Yeah. Shit.
Right? That's how much, those are, each one of them is a pain point of something that could go wrong,
Yeah.
So being aware of that and going into, understanding that the key is behind your plate.
Yeah.
It's not what you deliver. Everything happens behind.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the preparation of years and years and years and years and years of paying attention to the minor details that makes it seem so easy.
Yeah.
Like sports players, that basketball players, UFC fighters, they put in years of work.
Exactly.
And they just see the final product.
Exactly. Which people don't see that all of that. And again, it's people shouldn't be disencouraged because it's a phenomenal business. I love it.
Yeah.
I have so much fun in it. With it, and I meet so many people, and it is a jet set kind of business. You're known and all that. So it's a lot of fun. So I mean, I would encourage people, and it's learnable, right?
Yeah.
People can get the skill.
But I mean, don't you think that the reason you're successful is because of the systems you put in place?
It's the sum of everything, some of experience, plus systems in place, plus some the way, especially here in the United States, the way you treat your employees, your team members is so important. And there's other places in Mexico, for example. It's the treatment to employees is not as important as it is over here. Because there's not that many opportunities for people there. So some employees suck it up. That doesn't happen here in the States. Here you make a little correction, and someone will leave and find another job within 15 minutes with another pay, and so it's just the way that you do things is very different.
Do you think that concept would work in Mexico?
I'm sorry?
Do you think like a concept will work in Mexico?
I wouldn't. I don't know if I would dare. There's a very clear and then reason, and then another. So the very clear reason is La Calle has a few items, right? Tacos, tortas made out of carnitas or pastor or asada or different things. So we're all together, and I have it all together. Typical places in Mexico, good taquerias, like the ones that really want to go, are usually very, very specialized. So you go to this place for carnitas, or you go for that place for pastor, or you go for the other for asada, or suadero.
I remember seeing that in a documentary on Netflix. The tacos. There's this Asian dude called Ugly Delicious or something like that. And he goes to different cities. He does the barbecue. He does the tacos, and he had a taquero walking him around Mexico City. And he did that. Like, he took him to a certain spot for this and a certain spot for that.
Even like if we're in the street in like downtown whatever, and we go out to the street to eat together, and maybe you'll eat in this stand and I'll eat in this one. We're together, we're talking. We went out together, but you'll eat because that's what they do really well and that's
Yeah.
what you want. So La Calle has, being here in the States and trying to get the experience, as much experience of the Mexico City experience as I can
Yeah.
to people, I get more things on my menu that would be typical in Mexico. And the second reason is I don't know how people would feel about an American brand, because the brand was born here in the States, an American brand coming over to sell tacos to Mexico. I think people will not give me credit, right? People will not like that. I think, I don't know.
They call you a traitor, probably.
Exactly, probably, exactly. So yeah, I don't know if I would do it.
Do you plan on opening more like statewide or in the city or like Galveston maybe? Like
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
about it?
for sure. Actually, last year we started franchising,
Oh,
selling franchises,
wow.
right?
Yeah.
So the offer is in San Antonio, even Houston. I would give out a franchise in Houston.
Yeah.
I don't want to gobble the market myself
Yeah.
necessarily. So I would give Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas Fort Worth. Those are the markets that we're right now launching to.
Yeah.
And let's see. And we're open to other markets in the rest of and even international.
Yeah.
We're open to it, but that's what we're doing right now.
Starting off. Yeah.
And we are going to open a new one. We're going to start building a new one in East River. I don't know if
Okay.
you've seen this new complex coming up.
No, is that by that golf course East End? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In that area
Yeah.
that area, there's like a new
That's
concept.
a good area.
Uh-huh.
It's growing up. Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
A lot of developments there.
Yeah. We're worried about the beginning because it's going to take a while to populate.
Yeah.
So we need to be very careful financially
Yeah.
to make sure that we're able to sustain the growth of the area. You know.
That's one thing that I've seen a lot of places in like East downtown. They try to get in there early, but they have to wait and wait and wait
Yeah.
and wait. Now East downtown's a little bit different.
Yeah.
How do you handle all that, like accounting? Have you always been good with finances and business, or did you learn this over time? Or you have or your partner maybe is good with it, or?
I'm a taquero. That's my position.
Okay.
I say I'm the CET, Chief Executive Taquero.
Okay.
My business partner has the COT,
Okay.
Chief Operating Taquero.
Okay.
He does all of the operations, and I do all of the admin.
Okay.
I've been in operations my whole life. That's what I've done. I've never been on the back end. And right now, all I do is the back end. All I do is the finances and the admin and all of that.
Yeah.
My job is to make sure that Fernando's my business partner. He has everything he needs to operate.
Okay.
Money, to open more stores, or vendors being paid, employees being paid. He cannot mess with. He doesn't have to mess with any of that. That's my job. So I've learned it, and it's been hard. When I first opened, I understood the P&L very well because I've been around the P&L, my whole life.
Yeah.
I had no idea what a balance sheet was, And I remember the first year that I that I did the taxes with the CP. So yeah, congratulations, you made so much money and this much money and you owe this many taxes. Like, but where's the money? Like I don't have it. Like, where is it? Like now that I understand it, I know where how the flow of money, the cash flow.
How long did it take you to get there?
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 8 years.
Because you're still going up. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I have an incredibly good restaurant system that we started working with also like 4 years ago, more or less. That has made it so much easier for me. It's a great system that really takes you, by hand with, all of what the finances are and how they should be. But I had to learn how to go and apply for a loan.
Yeah.
And all of the paperwork that it takes and all of the time that it takes.
Yeah.
I had to learn, how long it takes to, see a new site, say, okay, I like that site, and everything that needs to happen from the day that you say, that's cool, to the day that you open, cut the ribbon.
Yeah.
Man, there's a list of 300 things that have to happen,
Yeah.
for it to be a successful, opening.
Did you ever get discouraged throughout the process of the first one?
And not discouraged. I don't think that's a good word to what I felt. I think it wasn't a discouragement. It's just like a frustration, right? A frustrated. If I have the dollar, if I have $1 for every time that I've said, if I knew this before, I would be richer.
Yeah.
If I knew, so making so many mistakes that when you're making the mistake, you don't realize you're making a huge, and they're huge, tens of thousands of dollars mistakes, right? And you don't realize it. And when you realize it, when you learn from your mistake, you realize it's such a dumb thing that I did. You realize how petty the mistake was that cost you so much money or so much time. So that's something that I've learned. Whatever your budget is, whatever your time frame is, or whatever the steps you're going to have to follow are in your mind, multiply it by 3.
Why?
And you'll be correct, right?
Okay. I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. So do it times 3, and then you'll hit the right time.
Yeah.
When the first La Calle in downtown, I came in. I've worked and managed hundreds of restaurants. I've never built one. That was my first build out.
Yeah.
And it was already a restaurant before. We were going to do 3, 4, 5 things, and I'll put whatever. 3 months in my mind, right? In 3 months you'll be open because it took 9 months, right? 9 months to open, and that's money going down the drain, and I didn't have a job anymore. I wasn't working anymore because I put my notice the day I signed the lease. I put my notice in my old work. I used to work for Ojos Locos.
Yeah.
And so. That's the and it took me 9 months, and the money's running out, and I opened the place with a very small loan from my mom and my life savings, right?
Shit.
So it's all of those things. If I would have known it was going to take me at least 9 months, another thing would have happened.
Yeah. What did you learn from Ojos Locos? How long were you there?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
They're fucking busy.
They're exploding.
Yeah.
They're exploding all over the country. They're doing...
The country? I thought it was Texas. Holy shit.
Oh, no. They're all over the country now. They're down in California. They opened Ojos Locos casino in Las Vegas. They're doing really, really well. They're growing really well. When I was working for them, I was working for a Front Burner. So Front Burner used to own Twin Peaks. And sister company was Ojos Locos. It was the same company.
Oh,
so they just translated
Latinos and whites.
So it's the Hispanic version of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Same training, same material. Genius, really good. Same training materials, same processes, everything, just Spanish. Yeah. And instead of I think it's the Twin Peak girl. I don't remember what they call them. It's chicas.
Yeah.
They just changed that, and
hello,
and did it.
hola.
Yeah. It was that, yeah. So
how many guys would invest or open that? Is it just one person that started Ojos?
So it's a group from Berner. They're the restaurant. They're out of Dallas. There are 3 guys, CEO, CFO, and COO, right? And they've created, they grow it, and they sell it. So they've done that with Twin Peaks, with Ojos Locos, with Velvet Taco was one of their brands. Whiskey Cake is one of their runs. They just sold it.
How do people get to this level of
3 guys, man?
That's like alien. You're the Midas touch. Everything you touch just turns to gold.
Yes, they're 3 guys. They know exactly what they do. This is what I learned. The question was, what did I learn from Ojos Locos? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have been able to open my company without this one learning, right? And the learning was, it's the first time, because as I told you, I had 15 years ago, I saw the concept. I started business plans 20 times in those 15 years
Yeah.
and then abandoned and did not know how to, right? Until I learned they're very strong on their DNA, the company DNA.
Okay.
And each one of their brands that they open have their DNA. In everything, DNA is not like just a slide on a piece of paper that they leave over there. Everything they do, every single decision they make it, they see if it fits on their DNA. And if it not doesn't fit on their DNA, they abandon it.
Yeah.
We're not wasting time on this.
Yeah.
Once I learned that about the DNA, I came with the DNA of my company, and I did the business plan within 2 weeks.
Oh,
it was,
shit.
so it gave me that clarity,
Yeah.
and that direction of what I needed to do to be able to put this idea together, right? That had been in my brain for 15 years.
Yeah.
So
everything that you had kind of already planned it. How it looks right now is how you had it planned, or have you added stuff over time?
I added stuff over time, and the very basic. That's a great question. I never thought about it, but I have it very clear now. The very basic. I mean, the tacos. Carnitas. A place that looks like the street, like if you would be eating on the street.
The good vegetables in the back and all the live what it's called, the organic stuff.
All of that came after, right?
Okay.
All of that came after. It was kind of a. In right now, if you go to a restaurant, wherever you look around, wherever you turn around, there's an item, there's something, right? So that was probably the first 3 years of me being there and adding.
Okay.
One of the points of the DNA is case and constant improvement.
Yeah.
Right. So I had well, I was there. I had the task to make something better every day, improve something, add something, create something every single, small as it might be, little stupid little thing, right? And that's how it became something more integral now.
Did you get motivation or like inspiration from any movie or show or? Because I know you had the wrestlers, like the Mexican wrestlers.
I like, again, I'm an 80s guy. I like vintage stuff. I
Yeah.
like black and white. I love, I like all of this. I came to the States 25 years ago, something like that, and so I remember my city, Mexico City,
Yeah.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what I brought in. I didn't brought in today's Mexico
Yeah.
City. I brought in 25 years ago Mexico City.
Is that around Mana when they were hot?
Oh yeah. When they were starting.
Yeah.
When they were starting. I remember being in a place. The first time I saw them live, it was in a place where no more than 100 people came in.
Oh, they were babies.
Yeah. It was when they first started. Mana, Caifanes, all of them.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
them in what's the name of the place? I can't remember.
Is it Mexico City?
Mexico City,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was like a small place where people, maybe it was like the La Diabla today, like a small place where people would go and jam. So they all went, or you know what? It was probably like numbers.
Oh.
There you go. There you go.
Almost done.
Yeah. It happens. So it was almost like numbers, where people would go and jam over there. So so basically that's where I more or less got the idea of what I brought in, right? The Mexico City that I brought in. All of my menu, all of the, so you will not find on the menu, you will not find something that is not typically in a taco stand, in the street stand in Mexico City, right? Some of the recipes I gathered, they gave them to me. Some of them I stole, and that's what I put together.
What's your favorite thing to eat there?
Carnitas.
Yeah.
I'm a carnitas fan. Yeah, love it. Yeah. That's my.
So you mastered the recipe.
I master the recipe, and they're goddamn good carnitas, I can tell you.
So you came up with all the things on the menu?
Yeah, pretty much. We make a couple of
Shit.
additions. For example, I from the beginning I wanted to put in suadero.
Yeah.
Because I really like suadero.
That I had never seen before.
It's really good. Yeah, suadero is awesome. It's awesome, and it's very, very typical in Mexico City. But for the first years, 3 years, I didn't have it on the menu because I wasn't able to hit the recipe right. I was doing it, making it, testing it, and it has, every recipe has to, there's more things that I would like to have, but they don't check all of the squares for the business.
DNA.
DNA and well, it comes down to the DNA for sure. But for example, there's items that the kitchen and the menu was created from scratch twice. Okay, from scratch. The first one thinking of high volume. So what items work with high volume? And an item that I cannot have on the hot well ready to go all the time would not work on a high volume because of the time it takes to, So if you're thinking you're on the line, anything that you have to wait for it to be prepared cannot make it on the menu.
Yeah.
Right? So for high volume, something that I can really, really make quickly, that you don't have to wait for it and whatever, then I completely put it aside and start from scratch for low volume.
How long into the project? Was it a year?
No, I mean, very quickly. And from the beginning, I did this by design. From the beginning, I knew I was going to do this.
Okay.
Because I needed to understand, I needed to be safe if I didn't have any volume. So what happens if you don't have any volume, right?
That's from your experience.
Exactly. From the experience and from knowing that I'm very, very tight and in cash, and I was, if I didn't hit the ground running from day one, I would have gone broke, right? So, and if I didn't take those measures of, okay, what do I need to do? What menu do I need to have to be able to operate with very, very low volume? So what items stand on the line the longest? If there's an item that doesn't stand on the line for a while, I can't get it in. For example, chicharrón. Chicharrón is a fantastic item. I would love to carry it, but it doesn't last more than an hour.
Oh, wow.
With a good quality, and it takes time to make. So I can't afford to waste.
Yeah.
Right? We have very, very minimal waste for the same reason. Right? So anyway, I did it for low volume in any item, and also on team members. So our skeleton crew, that means the least amount of people that you should have in order not to skip any steps of your process, of your brand promise. Ours is 2 people. Right?
Oh, what? 2 people?
I can operate without skipping one single step of the process with 2 people, and that's why I created that kitchen the way it is and everything. That's why I have that equipment. That's why I have that menu. That's why I have
fast too.
Yeah.
Just in and out.
Yeah. So it's ideally it's like Chipotle or like Subway, right? So one person comes, they take you, put your items in, do the checkout, and you move on, and
how long does it take for the process? You got it down to a science, right?
So the brand promise is for a 7-minute ticket time, right? Okay. So no one should wait. It doesn't matter how many people are in front of you. No one should wait more than 7 minutes online.
Oh shit!
Right? Tacos, the street tacos, which are number one, item. That's a 45-second. You can make the tacos, hit the tortilla, fill them with whatever you need, and give it out in 45 seconds. Right? Tortas are a little bit more.
At the other locations too, or just the downtown one?
At the other locations too. That's the brand promise.
So right now you have downtown and midtown, and where else?
In Garden Oaks, which is closed right now because it burned. It burned to the ground.
Like
fire, horrible. This is my second fire.
It's kitchen or what?
In the kitchen. This one was in the kitchen. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, we're going through a really bad process right now with attorneys and everything because it turns out that they build it, the general contractor build it. The drawings called for sheetrock, green rock, which is the typical sheetrock that you would see, and they build it with plywood.
Oh.
And they saved $3,000
Yeah.
by doing this. $3,000, which cost me. It could have killed someone.
Yeah.
Someone could have died because it was a bad fire. It destroyed the place.
Yeah.
Destroyed the place. And so yeah, that's
How long was it open?
2 years.
2 years.
Two and a
Oh,
half.
damn.
2.5. Yeah.
And the Midtown one, how long has that been open now?
That has been open for 6 years.
What?
It's going on 6 years.
The Midtown one?
The Midtown one. Yeah. That was supposed to open. That was a very fun project. The original project, when I went to get the place, I went to present to the city because it's a Midtown redevelopment. It's my landlord, no? It's the city is my landlord, pretty much. And it was pretty cool. They received more than 300 applications for that spot.
Yeah, that's a really good spot.
It's a phenomenal
Yeah,
spot. I love it.
It is.
300 applications. Out of the 300 applications, they asked for 20 business plans.
Okay.
Out of the 20 business plans, they asked for 8 presentations, right? And I was one of the 8 presentations that they wanted to come in and present, right? And before me, I could tell there were groups before me and after me. I was there with my real estate agent and my girlfriend with tacos, right? We just brought them tacos. And I could tell the group before me, big executives with, big marketing team and big teams, but no tacos. So, so.
Yeah, you sold them.
Yeah, right, exactly. So they're eating and I'm presenting and they're just eating and loving it. And
so do you think it was how good the quality was of your food or the presentation or what?
I think it was the presentation and it was something that they were looking for.
Okay.
The kind of item, the kind of service, quick, fast, everything that I'm telling you right now of, how we serve is what I presented. That's what they were looking for. The previous tenant, would do something like they were having like a movie night. And because of the style of service, they were doing the middle of movie night, and they were calling number 56 and number 80, and they didn't want that, and my service model didn't go like that.
Yeah.
So they want something else. But what I was going to tell you the story is the first project for that place that we did. It included two stories. So we were going to put a story. A beer garden on top of what was existing over there.
Yeah.
Do you remember the location before?
I don't think I do. No.
It was just like a dark gray, very, very obscure, very down,
Yeah, I drove by it a lot though, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Some, like burgers and whatever. But we're going to we had all of the permits, we have all of the drawings for 2 stories, a nice big
that would have been beautiful there.
Beautiful it would have been.
Yeah.
So we're ready to, hit ground, and COVID hits.
Oh shit. Yeah, we're talking about that.
And COVID hits, and I'm like, I'm not going to spend over $1 million in the middle of COVID. I think you understand. So I told them when we dialed it down a lot, we added that the container. That's the bar now.
Yeah.
We added that. We did some other work. It turned out I'm really happy with the place.
Yeah.
Turned out pretty cool place. But it was not the big project that.
What do you think would happen if you did that?
Now, what you were asking about now, knowing in hindsight, knowing what I would have done it, man. It
That would have been crazy.
Yeah, it would have been insane. Yeah.
Because there, in that area, it already looks nice.
Yeah.
Imagine driving by seeing.
Yeah. People up there and music, light music, and the container was going to be up there.
Oh, okay.
That's where the container was going to go. So we just fit it, below and forgot about,
I mean, COVID scared the shit out of everybody. I mean, anybody in the hospitality business. Yeah, I don't know anybody that wasn't afraid. Even if your pockets are deep.
Yeah.
Because your
Exactly.
expenses are deep too.
You don't know. Yeah, exactly. You don't know. I remember, back then that Tilmer Fertitta was criticized for furloughing, I think, 4,000
Yeah, I
employees, right?
remember. Yeah, yeah.
For him to furlough 4,000 employees is the same for me to furlough four.
Yeah.
If you don't, then 40,000 people won't have a job
Yeah.
in 3 months,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't afford it. You can't
Yeah.
have it. So it's tough decisions that are very criticized from the outside, but
Yeah. It's people that don't understand. They capitalism and being a business owner is not easy.
yeah. It's I've never, and with my partner we're on the same page on this. We've never made any decisions because of money. To the date, we have not taken one penny out of profits from the business.
Wow.
Not one penny. We've all reinvested in
Yeah.
growth because we want to grow and whatever. But we don't make any decisions based on filling the pockets
Yeah.
or whatever. When COVID hit, we were okay. So what do we do? Right, we're going to close all the dining rooms. We knew our volume for deliveries, Uber, DoorDash, proper. We knew the volume. We're not going to make it. We have some money saved, but
Yeah.
we're not going to make it with those sales. What do we do? And we said, like, what are guests going to do? Right? We need to keep our guests, engaged and
Yeah.
and happy with our product, and we can't be forgotten. And so we decided to move along. And I told him, we're going to lose this much money if we keep open. And we both were like, yeah, let's lose the money and let's keep it open. That was at the end. It turned out to be very helpful.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a great thing because what happened, a couple of things happened. The first one is that we were already set with Uber, DoorDash, and whatever. All of tens of thousands of restaurants were not. So we already had it when they were trying to onboard.
Yeah.
And obviously those companies were not able to handle that volume of onboarding,
Yeah.
that volume of restaurants. So that took a very, very long process. So it turned out that we got sales out of the deliveries.
Yeah.
The other thing that happened is that whenever they opened limited, the 50% dining rooms and whatever, so we went. A lot of people said, a lot of other restaurants said, no, we don't. No, let's close it and we'll open whenever we open, right? Whenever we can open, fine. Because with 50% of my dining room, I'm not going to make money, and they're right, right? You are right. But what happened to us, and not making the decision because of money, making the decision because of the guest, what happened is that people that would have never, everything else was closed. So people that we would have never seen in our building got to see
That's
it.
that's how I learned about it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I had never been there until COVID.
Really? Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine. So before COVID, our guest base would be 90% Hispanic, Latino, 10% everything else. And after COVID, Latino is not our number one market. We got so much influx of every other,
that's good.
race and whatever, and that created it opened completely our people did not know that they wanted street tacos before us. There were many places, small mom and pop places that had street tacos, but not places with a brand, the branding and
The
everything.
flavor, I mean, it's just, you get the authentic, it's hard to get that in downtown.
Let me tell you where the flavor comes from. When I first moved to the States, everything I would go to eat to McDonald's or to a steakhouse, and everything tasted the same to me. I would come out with the same flavor, right? And it took me many years to realize that flavor that was in my mouth is that preservatives that they put in food, in canned food and frozen food, and it has preservatives. And that has a taste, right? So in La Calle, there's no freezer, no microwave, and no can openers. There's no we don't use any of that, and what it creates that flavor. That's where the flavor comes from. I have people coming in and oh my God, what is this? It's chicken, bro. It's just chicken. Like but that's where the flavor comes from.
Fresh. How did you get the idea for the, what is it called? Consomme? Or what is it called?
The birria. The dipping birria consomme.
Did you start that from the beginning, or?
No, that came when around COVID time, a place in LA, not even a place, a food truck in LA made the birria ultra viral.
Yeah.
They made it ultra viral.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to have it. It was, I would name it, and it was kind of a barbacoa before.
Okay.
Right? So I kind of changed what I had as a barbacoa, that it was a beef barbacoa. So the typical barbacoa is made out of goat, and this was beef. So it was barbacoa, but it wasn't a barbacoa,
Yeah.
And I was there. And then when this happened, it's like birria. So I turned it into a birria immediately, and that's a phenomenal item. Yeah. And everyone eats it. Everyone wants that item.
Yeah, I could imagine that one. Because at that time, at least in COVID or 2021, you didn't really see, at least downtown, man, or Midtown or Galleria, too many places doing that.
Yeah.
I don't think I know any other place that did it.
Yeah. It came and it quickly. Like now, there's many places called birria or called, and because but that credit is goes all to that place in LA. Oh, that food truck in LA.
What is it called? Do you know?
I can't remember now. No, I can't remember.
We could tag them and show.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you all when we finish. I'll look for it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So what's your game plan like? What do you think that the brand is going? Do you plan to open another club too, or just that one for now? Or
the club is for now. I don't think I'll open something unless a really, really good location comes available.
Yeah,
I would open a club, but the growth that I want to focus on is La Calle, right? Because I think it's the one that has more legs, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to open more in Houston. I would love to go out of city and out of state.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be easier for us to grow on the franchise side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Than on the company owned, because I mean the funding and all that.
Yeah.
We're going to put like 1.5 million into East River. So
oh shit.
Yeah, so that's a huge loan and a huge investment and whatever. So we can't do many of those.
Yeah. How long do you think till East River's open?
By the end of the year.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah. Probably.
Have you had any guys try to come buy the whole company?
We did have a company that came in, one of those, I don't remember how they're called, but they're investment companies. What they do is they come in, they put a lot of money into it so that you can grow together. I don't care that I would lose equity, but I would lose control.
Yeah,
right.
Quality probably too.
Yeah, as well, because they go, what they do, they explain it to me really well. It's pretty interesting. So they look for a big, they're a fish, right? And they look for a place that they can grow from 1 or 2 restaurants to 10 or 15. And then a bigger fish comes and buys that one. And that one, once they buy companies that have 15, 20, units, and they turn it into 100, 150. And there's even a bigger one that will take one of those and will take it international and all of that. Right?
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, so that means that I'm the worm, right?
Yeah.
I'm the worm at the beginning of the,
the whole process
of this whole process. Yeah. So I mean, we would consider it. I think more than that, I would be willing to grow it more, because right now it's not worth, not worth much, right?
Or a Shark Tank.
Yeah. I would sell it, and I have 2 more concepts that I would love to create.
Wow.
And for all of the time, I've wanted to create 3 concepts on my mind of the 3 things that I love the most. The first one is well, not in particular order. So one of them is Taqueria, City Taqueria, which is that one. One of them is a carnitas place, a place that only huge, big operation where you see all of like 4 or 5 casos of carnitas being,
wow.
made and whatever, and it's a much bigger operation
Yeah.
what I have envisioned. And the third one is seafood.
Yeah.
Seafood, a little bit like a lot of crab, but I don't know if you've seen, if you've been to Pier 8 in Galveston.
No,
in
I've seen a
Kima.
bunch of videos though, like something like
Pier
that.
8, where it's a huge line with all of the ice and the fresh fish, and you go and you say, give me one of those, and and they cook it for you whichever way you want. That's kind of a third concept.
Like in a certain, they cook it in a certain style, like
Yeah.
fry it,
You,
grill
you
it.
can ask for it fried, boiled. That place doesn't have many options, but what I have envisioned, you
Yeah.
have like any of the options for, hot boil or buttered or fried or.
What's your favorite way to eat it? If you get like
love
like a
seafood.
mojarra, mojarra?
Frita, fried. Yeah,
right?
yeah, mojarra frita for sure,
to.
for sure. No question about that one. I mean, crabs. I love crabs. Hot boils.
Yeah.
Louisiana style hot boils.
Yeah.
For sure.
What are some of your favorite restaurants in Houston to go eat?
I'm very regular right now. I've been going a lot. I'm very, when I choose one place, I stick to it for years, and that's what I do every single day. And I'm very into routines. We just started going to the Cajun Region in Richmond.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're
I
so
haven't been, but I
good.
heard really good things.
Really good, really good. We drove past it many, many times. I hadn't gone to it, and suddenly stopped, and it's right now my favorite. So you can find me there like every Sunday, right?
What do you get? What do you get from there?
They have a great, the crawfish is really good now on season, but they have a knife that it has crawfish, shrimp, crab, and sausage, right? And it's like a hot boil, and it says that it's half a pound of.
It says.
It's not a half a pound of whatever. They bring you some huge plates, so it's a good experience, and people, the servers and the bartenders are super nice and all that. I'm a big fan. I go very often to Mambo's.
Mambo seafood. Yeah.
Mambo Seafood. I love it. They just got purchased by one of these companies.
Oh really?
And they're growing. Yeah, you'll notice the changes if you go.
Do you think that if somebody bought you out, do you think that you would ride off into the sunset and relax, or do you think you would try to get back in there and back into the business, something else?
I would do another concept.
Yeah?
I would start another one. Yeah.
You can't. You don't like being like too still. Like
I don't think I could. I don't think I could. Yeah. I enjoy what I do, man. It's fun. I mean, I don't have to really. I mean, but I wake up every day. I take a shower and I go and I work on my computer until 6. And I don't stand up. I don't need sometimes until 6, 7.
Yeah.
I like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Where'd you get that from? That kind of work ethic from your parents, or?
Man, my first job was when I was 9 years old in Mexico, delivering hamburgers in Mexico City, and I would take the bus from my house to this place, Prontos, what's called. There was no McDonald's, no nothing. This opened before the first McDonald's opened in Mexico, and so this is 40 years ago, 43 years ago. And it was like something like McDonald's, but it was called Prontos. And I would be a delivery. It was right in downtown Mexico, a delivery kid. So I would go and, bring the trays to the offices. And, I was all like small and skinny and, and blue eyes. And so all of the secretaries over there, oh, come on. And, they would give me a bunch of money. So I would go back to my house walking with all of the change, like all the coins, in my pockets, like moving. So I started working and I always liked it. My dad used to own a restaurant.
Oh.
So I would be in his restaurant all the time. And my aunt was in charge of the warehouse of the restaurant, so would go and spend time with there, and I would see how on paper she would control the things. They would have chocolates, Carlos Quinto, for the hot chocolate, and I would take one and she would go and write it down on her index card, and so I was exposed to that. I was exposed to the way
What
that
kind of restaurant was it?
it was called Toulouse-Lautrec.
Okay. What does that mean?
Toulouse-Lautrec he's a painter, a French painter, and so it was kind of a international French kind of food. It had also it had a second level, and it had kind of a place where there was live music.
Oh, wow.
Like a guy with a guitar, and it was open till late. So, and it was in La Zona Rosa, the pink zone they called it. It's an area in Mexico City that it wasn't too white or too red. It was pink zone. It was a mix. A lot of people with, like, bohemians and writers and poets, and a very boheme kind of kind of place. And in many ways, La Diabla right now, or La Calle and La Cantina right now, you recreate your own life, right?
Yeah.
So it reminds me a lot of my dad's place. And I would be there all the time. Sometimes, I was on people's way, but, at the bar or,
How long
doing
did he have
something.
it for? How long was he there?
I don't remember, but he still had it probably when I was like, he had it for 20 years. I mean,
Oh, shit.
he had it for 20 years, but I remember I was probably like 12 when they closed. He finally closed it. Yeah.
And so that kind of instilled the work ethic. Did they make you work too, or no?
They no, I never worked for my dad. No, him owning a restaurant, he sent me this place where I told you about. He was a friend of his,
Okay.
so he signed me to work with him. Not, so yeah, I was fine with it. It was cool, but I never worked for him. But I feel very comfortable. Kitchens and restaurants and back of the houses can be super ultra chaotic.
Yeah.
I grew up with it.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable. Whenever I see that something happens, I already know why it happened. A few steps behind, like why it happened, right?
Yeah.
Being used to that environment all of the time.
It's kind of like that movie. Have you ever seen Spanglish?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the
Yeah.
vibe. Like we talking about the food and
Yeah.
how you have a passion for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was like just a movie, but
Yeah.
it's real.
My favorite scene of that movie is, this is a high chef and he makes himself a sandwich.
Oh, the sandwich! It looked good.
It looked
Chopped
good.
it up, the egg. Yeah, I remember with the beer. He just wanted to eat it.
He starts having this argument, and they finish having the argument, and he picks it, and it's all all dry, and
Yeah, that's
my
a good movie.
favorite. Yeah.
What's her name? Is really beautiful too. I forgot her name. The actress.
That's Salma Hayek, no?
No,
That's not Salma Hayek.
Paz Vega. I think Paz Vega. I think her name.
I don't remember.
Something like that. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but she's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
She was a good actress in that. I remember it. It's so. Do you think that you would ever franchise to somebody that? Because I know Chick-fil-A has like a 3-year wait. So what if you meet somebody and you don't like the way they are? Would you franchise to them or?
So we have a very clear guideline of what we're looking for, because it's not a cheap franchise. We're asking for a minimum of 3 locations, a package of you have to
that's
do
smart.
minimum 3, and there's many reasons why we want it like that. One of them is we don't want to have to deal with 50 different franchises, 50 different stores, because it's very hard to deal. So what this creates, the level of investment and the and this kind of what creates is that we're looking for companies that have brands. They franchise for it's the whatever Burger King, and they have like 3, and they're looking for another brand. And some of them are doing that. They're looking for a small up and coming brand that they can start growing themselves.
No.
So it's not about personality. It's about, something that someone that really wants or can adhere to our process and procedures.
Yeah.
Right. My Fernando, I've always worked on the corporate restaurant side.
Yeah.
Of business. Fernando, my business partner, when I left Mexico, he stayed in Burger King for 30 years, 20 something years. He became CEO of Burger King in Mexico. right? So,
Shit.
yeah, he went all that from an hourly. He started as an hourly.
Damn.
Yeah, I think he started as an assistant manager. When he was, there's a picture of him when he was like, 16, 17, and he went up to CEO. I mean, up to being in control of 400 restaurants
That's
under
crazy.
his belt. He has a lot of experience dealing with franchisees,
Yeah.
right? Which is not always the easiest thing
Yep.
because they're putting their money in, their owners. They want more of a say, and the line between having a say because you have a business and it's your business and you're putting a lot of money into it and work,
Yeah.
and doing the things that you want, it's very even in Burger King, it happens that franchisees suddenly put products in that don't exist.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I seen. Was it Burger King? It was some kind of franchise. They got kicked out and they were still putting stuff in there. Like there was like a fish or something.
Yeah. Even in the movie, phenomenal movie, The Founder.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, even there, it talks a lot about franchises wanting to do whatever the heck
Yeah.
they want, and that's the hardest thing about franchising is that dealing with.
Did you already know you were gonna do that in the beginning? Like get to that point, to this point.
Yeah, I opened and I created the brand. Another point of my DNA of La Calle is simple, economical, and replicatable, right? So we designed it, everything from the finishes of the walls, the floors. It's very simple, very economical.
Yeah.
The chairs are very cookie cutter.
Yeah.
The equipment, there's no specialized equipment at all. It's just the most simple equipment, So everything was created with that in mind. We're going to make it very, very simple.
Yeah.
So that we can replicate it. So
Yeah.
it was created based on growth, not on the ability to having growth, not on let's create this one just this place.
Yeah, super special. Like yeah, because they replicate. I remember that was one of the things that this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad talked about. He said make it duplicatable.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to get rich, like that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Some people try to create something that's crazy. Like there's I don't know if you've seen. There's like these restaurants, like a place called like Ciel, and their experience is really awesome. Like it's really cool. They dance on top and all that. But I'm in the business, so I'm like when I get there, I'm like I know how much that costs. I know how much that costs. I know how much they pay there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you have like a bad month,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you have to be phenomenally like educated to be able to operate something like this.
Yeah.
And plus when you make it simple like that,
Yeah.
the system is what makes it so great.
Yeah.
You
For
put
sure.
it everywhere.
For sure. One of the arguments sometimes I have with Fernando, where for you to get a new item, a new product, a new bottle, in the restaurant, it's very, very hard because I refuse it as much as I can, right? And when I have this argument with Fernando, it's like let's do this, it's very easy to get this item in, or it's very easy to make this new item.
Yeah.
And I'm like, every single thing that we do is easy.
Yeah.
There's not one single thing that we do in a restaurant that's hard.
Yeah.
Everything together is very, very hard, right?
That's a good way
So
to put
that's one thing. If you tell me this, like, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Yeah, this is very, it's very simple stuff.
Yeah.
Now add it or multiply it, like example I was giving you.
Yeah.
Multiply it by one more thing.
Yeah.
It's exponentially more difficult.
Yeah.
It's Steve Jobs that said, we are prouder of the things that we don't do than the ones that we do.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm proud of, I've said no to many things that are very appealing.
Yeah. That's a good point. I guess that goes with like self-discipline probably, Steve Jobs is an innovator. I can't believe that their company is like the way it is.
In which way?
It's only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
And it's already what it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like how much bigger can it get, but I don't see a limit.
Yeah.
You know?
With really, I mean, you can debate it, but with really one item.
Yeah.
One item. I mean, 80% of their sales is
Yeah.
the one item, and that's insane. That's great, and keeping the discipline of not wanting to do more stuff.
Yeah.
I follow him, Steve Jobs, and I read all of his biography and all of his
really?
movies and all of, because I'm a huge fan, huge fan of him. And the way that he came up with the iPhone, it explains that he went to his team, and if you would think back then, how old are you?
34.
34. Yeah. So you kind of maybe know what I'm. If you think back then, like how many buttons should a phone have?
Yeah.
It's at least 9 plus a 0 plus, plus the hang up, and so. And he came with his team, and he said, I want a phone, and I wanted to do whatever. And there's one rule, one button.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, we at least need 12. What do you mean one button?
Yeah.
And he did it. There's none anymore.
And then they took it off, yeah.
Yeah, even that one he took off.
Yeah.
But, that's how he revolutionized what he does, and it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that does scare me, though, is that we are too connected to these,
It's bad. It's bad, and it's addictive, and I'm addicted to it as well. I mean, all the time I'm looking. It's
I mean, you could look at it like that, and you could also say it's essential,
right?
As a business owner.
Well, if you don't get into it, people that were saying, no, I'm not giving my kids, this technology, whatever. I'm not giving it. Well, if you don't get into it, you're out of.
Yeah.
It's like people now, prohibiting their kids to do the homework on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Okay, if you prohibit it, they won't know how to use it a few years from now, and they're going to be behind. You're not making them a favor.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
You need to grow with it. You need to be with it.
Yeah, you can't fight it. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Louis C.K. talks about he has one bit that he said, like, people need to die. People need to, whenever you come to the point where you're like, oh my God, like, what is this? I can't figure out this QR, the menu, that's when you need to leave, like, and he says, can you imagine dealing with people, from 300 years ago, and trying to explain how to look at the menu, so yeah, I mean, you have to be cognitive of where you're at.
Because there's always people that I don't know. It's like we don't understand. Like each generation doesn't understand the one before, but it happens all the time. Like it's not just us. It's throughout time.
Yeah.
Imagine people before the TV. They didn't understand that.
Exactly.
Like, oh God, or before cars. They didn't understand that.
Exactly.
I try to stay in the middle.
Right.
Like, even like, go ahead and vape. You're cool. Yeah, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Whatever.
Right.
I choose not to vape though. But this, I mean, I do understand to me, as soon as I learned social media, like my business went.
Yeah, for sure.
And I try to. That's the battle though. Like not using it for entertainment.
Yeah, right.
Mindlessly scrolling.
Right. I mean, there's no papers anymore. There's no people barely watch TV as like watching TV. Imagine watching TV like before, where you had to get at a certain time to go and watch your program, and if you were late, you missed it. And that's insane. And everything's right there, always with you, whenever you want it, the way you want it, how fast you want it, and it's now even tailored to you. So I don't see stuff that I don't care about.
Yeah.
Right. Remember, I mean, the paper, it was like this thick, and there were 100 pages of stuff that I didn't care for,
Yeah, because even when social media started, you saw everybody's things. Now you just see the people that you actually associate with, like Facebook.
Exactly.
You don't remember Facebook back in the day?
Yeah. And it's for the good and the bad, because now you're only being fed things that you agree with.
Yeah.
And that's what's creating all of that division where I love something that I follow Bill Maher
Bill Maher.
And Bill Maher has his podcast, and he's had people in his podcast that he would never agree with.
Yeah.
And I've seen the like 3 latest. Man, it's so good for 2 people to have different opinions, different ideas, and talk, and they're just 2 different people with different ideas, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's so good to to see that.
Yeah.
The beef that he had with Trump, and he went and he had dinner with Trump, and
Oh, he did?
And then he reports back. What happened? They don't show the dinner, but he reports back, and he was like, he's a cool guy, he's a good guy, and he was funny, and he was gracious, and and we disagree about a lot of things, but like, stop with all of this.
I mean, people that do that, they're part of the programming. Like they just they will argue with anything.
They'll exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's a very small percentage of those people that don't have rational,
Yeah.
But they're loud.
Yeah.
They scream, they protest, they like me.
Yeah,
Look at me, pay attention to me.
Yeah. You know what? Like, especially on social media, it's insane what people will tell other people there.
Yeah.
Stuff that you would never, ever, even themselves would never tell to someone across the you would never, you would ask them, you would, no, this, you suck. Like, when would you interact like that with someone in person? But behind the keyboard, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Horrible.
What do you think their goal is? I mean, is it because we're easier to control as like separate,
what is their goal, or why do they do it?
Yeah, why do they like paint red and blue, Democrat, Republican, or or why do they religion and like?
Man, I don't know. I don't know why this is happening. It shouldn't. I have my opinions politically, and I'm not behind Trump, but the day he won the first time, and I was probably a little bit vocal before that I didn't like him, whatever. The day he won, he won. Let him do his stuff. Let him, It's not the end of the world, where a lot of people thought it was going to be the end of the world. It will not be the end of the world.
Yeah.
And for the opposition, when Biden won, people thought it was going to be the end of the world, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Life goes on.
Life will go on, and so that polarizing. I don't know why it's happening. Well, why do they do it? I think politically, to gain and whatever, to cause issues so that the other one fails.
Yeah.
What's going on here has been going on in Mexico for many, many years, many presidencies, in the sense that it's two political parties.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which one wins. The other one is going to spend 4 years doing everything possible that they fail.
Yeah.
And they will fail. And then it's a change, right?
Yeah.
And that one will do everything possible for the other one to fail. And then, so we're 20 years deep having people making fail each other.
Do you think that Mexico will ever get to the point? Because I know, man, this is weird what just happened with the elections. I heard that 30-something or 20-something, they died. They got murdered or something. What are they called? The candidates. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, so like 20-something of the candidates that were supposed to be running for president, they got killed.
Okay. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, and I was like, what? That's weird,
20% of the candidates?
No, 20-something or like 30 of them.
Oh, 30 candidates.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that story.
I'll look it up. But my point is, do you think that, because Mexico is a fucking ginormous country, a beautiful country, why haven't we caught up? And why is it so like crooked, because we have, man, it could be one of the richest countries in the world if it gets everything lined up together.
You just say that's exactly why. I think, and this is, again, I think that Mexico has been ahead of the political environment, ahead of the United States in this sense. You've heard about corruption in Mexico.
Yeah.
Right? corruption, it's been around for many, many, many years. Um, in the States, it's not called corruption, it's called lobbying.
Lobbying, yeah.
But lobbying, it's exactly the same thing as corruption.
It is, yeah.
And the lobbying, they don't care who wins, Republican, Democrat. They'll be with whoever wins. It doesn't matter who wins. They'll be lobbying for their interests and whatever.
Yeah.
And but lobbying is just it's the same as corruption. It's the same function.
Yeah.
It's the same function as a corrupt person. Look, make this happen for me.
Yeah.
I'll give you
Most
money.
of the time with money, yeah, that's what they say, with money.
But here it's legal.
Yeah.
Lobbying is legalized here.
Yeah.
That's where I think that everything's broken. It doesn't matter. It's not a Republican. It's not a Democrat.
Yeah.
It's not Trump. It's not Biden. It's not Kamala. Lobbying is what's creating all of these issues.
Yeah.
I think.
I also think that a lot of it, it comes from, I guess, people with a lot of money, right? There's these companies called like Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, and they are the ones with the majority of America's money. So then they're like, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And they tell everybody what to do, pretty much. They control. They're like quiet, you know. They don't hear about them. They're not.
Scary, man.
But they're the ones with the money, you know.
It's scary. What BlackRock is doing is very scary in the sense of they're buying all the houses.
Oh, that too, yeah. Hopefully Trump does something about that. If he just puts a law in place that anybody over the certain amount of, or even a hedge fund, I know angel investors or anybody that has a certain net worth, you cannot buy residential properties. Like that would kind of nip that in the bud. But we'll see if he does that.
I hope, because that's scary.
Yeah,
that's scary. It's already very, very, very hard for anyone to own their own home.
Yeah,
which is one of the most basic human needs, to have a freaking roof over your head. And these people are going to make it impossible for people, and they can do it with the money. But they can do it in 3 years. This can be done in 3 years.
We're gonna be shit out of luck, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
People are gonna be living in the streets.
Yeah. It's lobbying that has made make it possible that minimum salary has not been raised in years, decades.
Yeah.
Decades. Minimum salary being the same. That's and somehow. So remember, back in the day when people used to, the guy used to work, the women used to stay at home and do the kids, whatever. Then they both start working.
Yeah.
Now they both have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Sometimes even the third one. With living and having more people living with you, like roommates.
Yeah.
When did that get normal?
Yeah.
Going from one person works to now 2 people have 2 jobs. When did that become normal?
Yeah. It's been, I know the woman working has probably been like 50 years. The inflation, shit, in the last 20 years probably. Making it impossible to live and then the housing crash in 2018. Hopefully we make it. Supposedly the majority of empires die after 300 years or 350 years. We're like right there. You know?
Yeah.
I hope we make it though. All right, so we're about to wrap these things up. I want you to tell them again where to follow you on Instagram, Facebook, and the name of your companies and.
Yeah, and for all of the handles, it's La Calle Tacos in Instagram, Facebook, webpage, everything. La Calle Tacos, and then La Diabla Retro Bar, same thing, it's the handle, La Diabla Retro Bar. So follow us, come and have some fun. We'll give you a promo code, if you watch us here, free margaritas on me.
Oh, shit.
If they mention you.
Yeah.
Just show this segment.